Good evening. Welcome to the May 6, 2013 Valley View School Board meeting. Mr. Venegas, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Curran, this being your last meeting, why don't you give us the board affirmation, if you have it up on your computer.
Our mission is to ensure that all students are prepared for college and a successful life academically, socially, and emotionally, as well as equipped with the necessary tools to have options and make decisions about their long-term goals. This will be accomplished by believing and working towards all students learning through rigorous curricula and meaningful, effective instruction, consequently demonstrating mastery on high-quality assessments with all stakeholders being held accountable throughout the process.
Mr. Bull, if you would read the board beliefs.
If I could find them.
Here, I've got mine up.
Yeah, I lost it. The beliefs. The belief that every student has the capacity to learn and to achieve his or her full potential is the foundation on which our efforts rest. We hold high expectations and provide supports to ensure academic success for all students in Valley View School District, regardless of race, gender, income, geometry, disability, or native language. This will be accomplished through enhanced cultural competency. I got it out. Boarding inclusions of students with disabilities in the regular education setting, focusing resources to support schools with high propositions of risk students with sound strategies to ensure that all students will be successful, developing the knowledge and the life skills necessary to be productive members of the community, establishing learning environment characterized by a genuine empathy for all students, in which their cultural and linguistic diversities are celebrated, embraced, utilized when designed or delivered lessons.
Thanks, Secretary Bull. Dr. Mitchum, agenda approval and any revisions?
Mr. President, I would like to ask the board to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Curran and Ms. Campbell, I believe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Consent agenda items. Dr. Mitchum.
Mr. President, I would like to ask the board to approve consent agenda items 5-1 through 5-7. 5-1 board meeting minutes, April 17, 2013. 5-2 executive session meeting minutes, April 17, 2013. 5-3 approval of public hearing minutes, March 27, 2013. 5-4 approval of public hearing minutes, April 11, 2013. 5.5 student activity contracts, Hermanson Elementary School and Anderson's Book Fair Company. 5.6 gifts for Tippett Elementary School, and 5.7 correction to resolution number 1441, IDOT right-of-way and temporary construction easement, Route 53 and Material Service Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. During discussion on consent agenda. Hearing none, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Curran?
Yes.
Secretary Bull?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Liaison reports, any and all, please. I have just one legislative report. The Illinois General Assembly is hot and heavy in whatever action is they're doing this week. Last week, there was to be a hearing on whether to put a moratorium on the virtual learning charter school systems. That made a presentation here a month and a half or so ago. That hearing was postponed. It is scheduled to be heard yet again tomorrow. That is in the, it's House Bill 494, and it is currently on the Senate side, so it'll be a Senate hearing in education. Dr. Mitchum and myself and several other school superintendents from around the area were down in Springfield for the purposes of that hearing, and again, it was not heard. We do not see anything changing in the bill at this time, that it will be passed out of the Senate committee and onto the floor of the Senate. If it passes without any amendments from the Senate, it will go to the governor's desk, at which time we will request a 12-month more. He will be requested to sign a 12-month moratorium to virtual charter schools. At that point, it is the belief of the sponsor of the bill, Representative Chapalavia, that there will be some heavy-duty discussions, meetings, hearings, if you will, over the next probably 8 or 9 or 10 months, and then there will be a recommendation that comes out of those hearings as to where we go from that point. If it still doesn't look like something that the districts that have been put in this situation like, then we will have to circle our wagons and discuss what we're going to do. So again, that's House Bill 494 in Springfield on the Senate side currently. Next, board presentations, which are up there. Feel like it's Christmas. What we got here? We on? Okay. Jim, if you would, please come down. As you know, or if you don't know, this is Member Curran's final meeting with this board. And this is a plaque that says, Jim Curran, board member 2009 to 2013, in recognition of your dedicated service to the Valley View School Board District, the Board of Education, your commitment to the children and the community is greatly appreciated. Valley View School District 365, you. That is for you. And staff got together and threw in a little something extra. The vaunted bag of peanut M&Ms. Ronnie, if you would, please. Ronnie Bull, Board Secretary, 2009 to 2013. In recognition of your service, dedication and service to the Valley View School District and the Board of Education. Your commitment to the children and community is greatly appreciated. Valley View School District 365U. Ronnie, thank you, my friend. He too gets the bag of M&Ms because him and Jim used to fight over who got the most peanut M&Ms. Before we go any further, I just really want to thank both you guys. You know, despite the hair, they're not related. And I don't think some of the people on the audience on TV, and certainly as the people in the audience, have an idea of the amount of time that goes in to being on a school board. It's not, you don't do it for 20 minutes or 3 hours once every, 2 or 3 weeks like when we're up here. There's a lot that goes into it. It's attending school functions, it's attending committee meetings, in Ron's case, going to the vocational school and sitting on their board as our appointment there. Jim, this is not your first foray into it. You've been here more than once. Talking to people and getting feedback in the community and having calm, steady hands. Nobody gets too terribly excited. Like, these guys earned some of that gray hair that didn't just come naturally. So I really personally want to thank you all, or both, for your service to the board and the community, and I look forward to seeing you guys out and about, because I know you're just not going to go home and watch TV. So thank you very much.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Member Curran, as it's been stated a couple of times on this board with myself and others, and I do thank you for your hard work, and I appreciate you and all that you've done. And likewise, Secretary Bull, thank you for your service, and may God bless you and what you guys desire to do after this night.
If anybody else have any comments, if you guys want to make any comments, please feel free.
You want me to take the mic? I'll just take it over the night. It's been a quite of an experience. When you get on something like this, you're not only representing yourself, but you're also representing the community. And when people move into a community, this is one of the first things they look at is the schools. And we've tried to project and become one of the better schools in the whole area. I feel very proud to be a part of that. I'll take a lot of fond memories with me. And I've also learned it's just like football. It's not an individual sport. It's a team group. And I think we had a good team, and I think from then on we will also have a good team. And I thank you for the experience.
You good? Well, gentlemen, Rick, if you would, a motion is in order to adjourn this board sine die.
So move.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye. I need an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned in sine die. Gentlemen, thank you for your service. Take your nameplates. At this time, the board has adjourned sine die. We will turn the meeting over to our vaunted attorney, and he will act as president pro tem. So, Jeff, you want to call the meeting to order? Sure. No, you don't need a gavel.
Oh, I want the gavel. I call this meeting to order. And the first item on the agenda is to swear in the new board members. So if the new board members will step up to the podium.
We go too. Come on. Yep. Come on, Leo.
Oh.
Well, I'll stand.
I apologize for the lengthiness of this. It's written by statute, so bear with us. Please. Should I hand it over to them at the appropriate time? Okay. Please raise your right hands. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will faithfully discharge.
the duties of the office of a member of the Board of Education of Valley View Community Unit School District 365U, in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois, to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual, and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. And I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jeff. We have presentations. You two already have yours, so you don't need them. But we have a presentation of your name badge, Ms. Sikora, and this is what everybody runs for school board for, right here. There you go. And Mr. Felice, this is yours, and here is your name badge. That and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee at a cheap joint. Thank you so much. Them get situated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And Mr. Alperin, meeting is yours.
May the secretary call roll call of the new board, please.
Okay. Member Venegas?
Present.
Member Hanson?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
And President Quigley.
Present.
All right, and at this time, I'll entertain nominations for the office of president.
I nominate Mr. Steve Quigley for
second.
president of the office.
I second that.
Are there any other nominations for the office of board president?
I nominate Liz Campbell.
Are there any other nominations for the office of board president? All in favor of Steve Quigley, please say aye.
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 All in favor of Liz Campbell, please say aye.
Aye.
Will the board clerk please report the vote?
I have Member Venegas, Member Hanson, Member Sikora, Member Felice, Vice President Gugis, and President Quigley for President Quigley, for Board President.
By receiving a majority of the votes cast, Stephen Quigley is elected president of the Board of Education, and he will now preside over the remainder of this meeting.
Thank you, Jeff. A motion would be in order now to select the vice president of the board.
I motion Rick Gugas.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any others to be heard for vice president?
I nominate Liz Campbell.
Ms. Campbell. Okay. We have two nominations. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor of Rick Gugis as board vice president, please say aye.
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 All those in favor of Ms. Campbell as Vice President, please say aye.
Aye.
Madam Clerk?
Okay, I have 6 votes for President or Vice President Gugis by Member Venegas, Member Hanson, Member Sikora, Member Felice, Vice President Gugis, and President Quigley, and 1 vote for Member Campbell.
Next, we will appoint the Board Secretary. At this time, nominations are open.
I nominate.
Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Crystal Hanson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there further nominations for Secretary of the Board?
I nominate Liz Campbell.
Are there any other nominations to be heard? Hearing none, seeing none. It would be in order for those who are in favor of Ms. Hanson for an aye vote.
Aye.
Aye.
All those in favor of Ms. Campbell, an aye vote.
Aye.
Madam Clerk?
I have 6 votes for Member Hanson as Board Secretary and 1 vote for Liz Campbell.
6-1. Ms. Hanson, you're now the Board Secretary. At this time, I believe we need to appoint the Board Clerk. Board Clerk has been Ms. Casey, and it would be in order for a nomination for Ms. Casey to be considered for the Board Clerk.
I nominate Miss Shelley Casey for.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations for Board Clerk? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hanson,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Next, we will appoint the Board Treasurer. A motion would be in order.
I nominate Miss Joanne Bird.
We have a nomination for Ms. Joanne Borg.
Second.
And a second. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hanson,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Next, appointment of legal counsel would be in order.
I nominate Tressler LLP as legal counsel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other legal counsels to represent the board? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
No.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hanson,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
I nominate.
Next it would be in order for the appointment of our hearing officer.
I nominate Mr. Stephen Prodell as the hearing officer.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations for hearing officer? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hanson,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Last but not least, I need a motion to to approve the board meeting schedule as it currently exists. If not, I need a motion to amend board meeting schedule.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion on the board meeting schedule? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Sikora,
Yes.
Member Felice,
Yes.
Secretary Hanson,
Yes.
Vice President Gugis,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Pardon me? Yes. Here's your new board, folks.
Can we
Next
also
we'll
have
do-
our treasurer stand to be recognized? Because I don't think a lot of our committee knows who our treasurer is.
Is she in
Great
the
point.
back?
She's right there.
Stand up. There she is, the treasurer, who hides out. Unlike the state of Illinois, our treasurer actually pays the bills. Pillars of Valley View are next.
Good evening, board members, members of senior leadership, and honored guests. My name is Tino Garitano. I'm the assistant principal at Bolingbrook High School. I'm here with fellow assistant principal, Ms. Paula Bodziak, to honor our pillar of Valley View, Sebastian Kapala. Sebastian has been a valued member of the Career and Technical Education Department in the Industrial Technology area for the last 10 years. Sebastian is a valued leader and exemplifies the characteristics of a Pillar of Valley View Award recipient. Sebastian has been in charge of the Industrial Technology program at BHS since the inception of the new Bolingbrook High School. His expertise in the engineering, architectural design, and the mechanical drafting has made the program one of the top curriculums in the area. His students attend several competitions during the year and always represent Valley View in the most professional manner. He not only serves as an instructor at Bolingbrook High School, but also as an administrator running the after-school credit recovery program for the building. This year, Sebastian is on a committee to help develop a new program of teaming students in the area of interdisciplinary academic studies, preparing them for the National Career Readiness Certification Program. If his tireless efforts are not enough, Sebastian has also volunteered to work with the administration, Career and Tech Ed, and the math department at BHS to create and develop a new curriculum teaming math and industrial technology. The goal of the program is to ensure the success of all of our students. The new course is mechanical drafting and geometry. His dedication to the students at Bolingbrook High School and to the Valley View School District is to be recognized and commended. Sebastian, you truly are a pillar of Valley View. Congratulations.
Next up, we have Humphrey Middle School.
Good evening, School Board, Dr. Mitchum, Senior Leadership, and Valley View School Community. Hi, my name is Dan Laverty, Principal at Humphrey Middle School. It is my pleasure to introduce Krista Roach as one of Humphrey's pillars. Krista is currently a 6th grade math teacher and has been in Valley View for the past 7 years. She's very involved with Humphrey and within the district. She's a coach and a sponsor, as well as a mentor, a member of the math committee, math literacy coach at Humphrey. Outside of her involvement, her greatest characteristic as a teacher is her caring, supportive nature for her students. Krista's dedication to her students is unmatched. She is truly devoted to their success in her classroom. It is my honor and privilege to announce Krista Roach as a pillar of Valley View.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Pioneer Elementary.
Good evening, Valley View School Board, Senior Leadership, and Valley View School Community. My name is Carmen Killingsworth, and I'm the principal of Pioneer Elementary School. And please join me in congratulating and acknowledging Mrs. Laura West as our pillar of Valley View. Mrs. West currently teaches 5th grade at Pioneer Elementary School. Mrs. West is committed to educating the whole child. She provides amazing opportunities for students through engaging real-world scenarios that call for full participation from all students. Mrs. West greets all Pioneer students with a friendly smile and a kind word each day. She does her best to embrace each and every one of her students where they are and works to get them where they need to be and beyond. Mrs. West holds her students accountable for their academic and social progress and prepares them for middle school in a caring way. She makes school meaningful and fun for her students while being a great team member and very accessible to parents. Mrs. West displays a commitment and loyalty to each of her students. She helps all students gain the confidence they need academically and socially to meet the demands of middle school. Mrs. West has taught 5th grade at Pioneer for 9 years. She has been teaching for 14 years. She earned her bachelor's and master's degrees from Illinois State University. Her master's is in curriculum and instruction, and this summer, she will be working on her special education endorsement. Mrs. West is also our school store sponsor, so she helps our 5th grade students run our school store. She's also responsible for our book exchange. We have a winter book exchange and a summer book exchange where students can bring books from home that they're done reading, grab a coupon, and get a new book that they haven't read so far. So Mrs. West is a wonderful, wonderful addition and a very proud person here at Pioneer, and we're really grateful to have her as our pillar of Valley View.
Come on in there, get a picture, go. Go on, guys. Yeah. Anybody who's got lights in his shoes deserves to be on TV. Next up, Bolingbrook High School State Skills. Mr. Gaetano.
Good evening again, everyone. I would like to honor one of our students, and I don't think she is here tonight. She said she might not be able to make it. Her name is Ashley Kuntz, and she is being honored and presented her certificate for taking 2nd in state at Skills USA. Ashley is a senior at Bolingbrook High School and a first-year culinary student at Wilco Area Career Center. Back on April 13th and 14th, Ashley participated in Skills USA Illinois State competition, and Ashley's event was a job skills demonstration speech on sushi. Ashley placed 2nd in state out of 39 candidates, and we are very proud of Ashley's accomplishment. And probably the most amazing part of it is she only learned to make sushi 1 month before the competition. So a great accomplishment to Ashley. Here's the certificate right here, and we'll give that to her tomorrow at school.
And there's no shortage of people in this audience who wouldn't mind having you over for dinner if you cook.
That is true. Thank you.
Congratulations to Ashley. Next up, math contest winners. And there's a lot of them.
While the students are making their way, hello, good evening. My name is Christy Vey. I'm the Director of Mathematics and Science for grades 6 through 12. And we hosted our annual middle school competition on Thursday 2 weeks ago. So we are here tonight to award those students for their efforts and those students who did really well. We have 8 competitions, and we'll have their sponsors come up and introduce the students that were able to attend this evening. We'll start with Miss Carrie Locke from Jane Addams, who will introduce the 6th grade group and the 7th grade group.
6th grade, Amit Bhatt, Mitch Fry, Josh Kurian, Mark
Hang on,
Liu,
guys. Hey, stay right there.
Charlie Steenstra.
You gotta circle around and give us all high fives.
Okay, 7th grade, Lance Balder-Verona, Jacob Harvey, Jolyn Zhang, Prem Rana, Valencio Sanidad.
Well done.
What'd you guys do?
Good
Did you win?
8th grade group will be by Krista Roach
Congratulations.
from Humphrey Middle School.
Well done.
Our 8th grade first place winners, we have 2 members here. Timothy Ramos is not here. Emily Bruce, Megan Wilson. Tyler Elmore could not be here, but Andrew Fenor is here.
Okay, in the algebra group from Jane Addams, Ryan Engelman is not here tonight. Elizabeth Nidzella, Malik Roberson, Lauren Wright, Hannah Young.
We also had 4 individual competitions. These students we're going to be recognizing received 2nd place or 1st place, and we'll have Carrie back up here for Jane Addams for a tie at 2nd place for 6th grade.
Okay, for 6th grade 2nd place, Mark Liu and Amit Bhatt. Okay, 7th grade, tied for 2nd place, Melencio Sanadat, who is not here this evening. And 7th grade 1st place was Lance Valdeverona. And also from Jane Addams, the 8th grade 1st place individual winner who is not here tonight was Molly Eichstadt. And the 1st place winner of the algebra contest from Jane Addams was Ryan Engelman, who is also not here this evening.
Our 6th grade individual winner was Peter Masick. He could not be here tonight. In 2nd place for 8th grade individual was Timothy Ramos, who could not be here tonight. Robert Masick came in 2nd place for algebra individual, and Andrew Fenor came in 1st place for 8th grade individual.
So every year, we have done this for 3 years. This is our 3rd year. We have a trophy that travels to the school, and the school gets to keep the trophy. And the trophy is Pythagoras. And Pythagoras this year is leaving its home at Brooks Middle School and heading over to Jane Addams Middle School for this year.
Mrs. Locke, Miss Roach, can you guys also come up and a hand to the academic advisors for that group?
I'm sorry, we have one other individual who's here tonight from Brooks Middle School, 2nd place at 7th grade individual, Piper Smith. Piper, if you'd come up.
Congratulations, well done.
Good job.
Those of you who couldn't see, on their shirts it says mathletes. Actually, Mustang. And what do you got there? The Pythagorean theorem in the back? Can anybody recite the Pythagorean theorem?
A squared plus c squared equals
C squared. There you go. Next, where are we at? Audience participation. Is there any in the audience who wishes to address the board this evening? Please step forward. State your name and where you're from. Before we do that, yeah, kids, we know you got school tomorrow. Anybody here is with the kids want to leave? Feel free. It's like yelling fire in a movie theater. Everybody heads out the door. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Sinatra Strong, and I live in Bolingbrook. And I'd like to say good evening to the board members and superintendent, and I'd like to say congratulations to our new board members as well. A couple questions I have. I can pose this question to anyone who would like to answer it. Concerning the No Child Left Behind, I'd like to know how we're doing as a district with that as a whole, with all the mandates that have came down. Of course, it's been several years, but if there's any updates on how we're doing with No Child Left Behind. And secondly, as far as teachers' evaluations, if that's tied into that, or if teachers' evaluation have started, if that process has started in the Valley View school system, if it has started, if there's any updates.
I will answer the question concerning the No Child Left Behind Act, and we'll have Sharon Hawks answer the question concerning teacher evaluations. In terms of the No Child Left Behind Act, as you know, that act is very cumbersome. Yeah. The act also requires that you assess the progress of each of your students by particular subgroups, depending on if you have enough children in those subgroups. So those districts that have multiple subgroups, that will include both demographic data specific to your race and data specific to your socioeconomic status. For those school districts that have a greater number of each subgroup, the challenges of the No Child Left Behind Act become much more difficult. In Valley View, we don't focus necessarily specifically on the No Child Left Behind Act. We just focus on being able to find out where our kids are at and meet them there and get them where they're supposed to be based on specific goals that we set for our students who are not where they should be in terms of where they're at when we pre-assess them. We set stretch goals for those students that would indicate that our expectations that we get at least 1 year's growth with growth beyond that. So our long-term goals are to find out exactly where our kids are at in a snapshot in time, map out where we think we can get them by the time that they graduate from our district, with the expectation that we meet the educational needs of all of our children. Does that mean that every single one of our children, by the time they graduate from high school, will be prepared for college at this point in time? No, but our goal, beginning with this year's kindergartners, is to ensure that we do have every one of our children prepared for the option of going to college if they so choose. Our goal is to make sure that we provide options for our kids, and that we don't limit the options of our children by the time they graduate from high school. And to that end, this district has made significant progress in the last 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
And if you'd like any quantitative data specific to that, I can provide it.
Okay, thank you.
In relation to the teacher evaluation, the Performance Evaluation Reform Act and Senate Bill 7 require Valley View School District to implement the teacher evaluation process with the new one with student growth as part of the evaluation by the 2015-16 school year. And according to that legislation, we will be working with our union to create the guidelines for student growth and also be using the Charlotte Danielson framework as part of the professional side of the evaluation.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, moving down the agenda. Student due processes. Mr. Mitchum, please.
Mr. President, I ask that the board approve the student due process cases A through J as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Next up, I'm going to guess Ms. Kinder?
Yes, sir. Thank you, President Quigley. Tonight I have 3 action reports related to high school mathematics. These information was presented on the 17th of April, and tonight I bring for your approval 3 items related to high school mathematics. The first item, 14.1, is a new high school math course. for senior math. We are recommending the approval of the adoption of this new fourth-year math course. This is an additional offering in addition to what students can already take their senior year, such as pre-calculus, statistics, AP statistics, and applied mathematics. This course will contain 2 independent semesters. First semester will focus on preparation for entrance to community colleges or trade schools, and second semester will prepare students for college mathematics topics, trigonometry, and statistics, extended from advanced algebra. And I did want to make one point of clarification. During the information report, it was stated that students cannot use calculators on the Compass test at JJC, which is the entrance exam. Students are allowed to use calculators. In the past, they were only allowed to use the pop-up calculator on the computer. Now there are requirements as to which type, but students are allowed to use calculators. I just wanted to make sure there was no misinformation about that item that was shared.
Thank you. A motion would be in order to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussions or questions of Ms. Kinder? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote to approve this program.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. 14.2.
Okay, yes. Item 14.2, we are seeking your approval of the adoption of materials and a new course for algebra for 9th grade. This includes the adoption of new student textbooks, which are a consumable resource to support 9th grade algebra course, as well as the implementation of a new high school math course, Honors Algebra.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion on this? Again, this has been presented previously. Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Okay, and the
Last but not least, 14.3.
Yes, the last item is 14.3, Intensified Algebra for 9th grade. We are seeking your approval for the adoption of a pilot program, Intensified Algebra 1, for a select group of students who will be in algebra 9th grade next school year. This includes the purchase of corresponding materials, resources, and support.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion on this?
Just as long as the intention is, I believe you committed to 17 to
No longer need this
to
course?
no longer need this course.
We will no longer need this course in a large form. We will need this possibly for a select group of students. I cannot predict student need, but I can guarantee you that it will not be common.
Again, and just great job, Mrs. Vey and your team and the committee that you work with.
And I would second that. I think Mrs. Vey, the Director of Math and Science, and all of the teachers that have been a part of the committee, and all of the high school administrators as well.
Thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Moving down the agenda, employee benefit package. Mr. Grisafi.
Yes, action report 15.1 is a recommendation to renew the contract with Mesro Insurance Services and Consulting. They have served as our benefits consultant since July of 2010. During the past year, they've been successful in reducing our program costs in the areas of life, disability, stop-loss, and vision programs. In addition to addressing our financial needs, they have also served as a consultant in many different areas, and several are listed there in the action report. I won't read them. They've offered to maintain the current annual service fee of $80,000, which represents their total compensation. All of the policies that are written on behalf of the district are net of commission, meaning they receive no commission. It's a flat dollar amount up front, so we know exactly what we're paying for their services. And with that, I'm recommending approval of the renewal with Mesro Insurance Services as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
No.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Action
Next. Oh,
action
go ahead,
report
Gary.
15.2 is a recommendation for a vehicle replacement for our facility operations department. We are recommending replacing a 1995 cargo van with 109,000 miles on it that is starting to experience many breakdowns and wear and tear, as you might imagine. It is used for our plumbing department. We received 3 bids, and we're recommending the low bid be accepted from Advantage Chevrolet here in Bolingbrook for the purchase of a 2014 Chevrolet 4500 Series cargo van in the amount of $39,788.
Motion would be in order.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Like the fact that we're shopping early, shopping local. We have motion and second. No further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Final action this evening, 15.3, is a recommendation to accept the award for the bid for roofing work at A. Vito Martinez Middle School and J.R. Tibbet Elementary. The work at A. Vito Martinez is for the cafeteria and small gymnasium, or the South Dome. I'm sorry, that's what was done last year. The South Dome is about approximately 19 years old. The work at J.R. Tibbet is for the cafeteria and small gymnasium. We received 4 bids and are recommending the low bidder be accepted, Bennett and Brousseau Roofing Incorporated from Romeoville, Illinois, another local provider, for the low bid of $421,500 to be incorporated into next year's operations and maintenance budget.
Motion.
Second?
Oh, we need a motion.
Member Campbell, she made the
Oh,
motion.
did you?
Campbell did it, so moved.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Fix the roofs. Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Ms. Hawks, if you would.
Yes. Action Report 16.1, Consolidated Action Report for Certified and Classified Personnel. This evening, we are seeking your approval for 57 items for certified personnel, 37 for classified, 4 for administrative classified, and 1 for administrative certified personnel.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
My second action report this evening is 16.2. It's resolution number 1457, authorizing the dismissal of educational support personnel employee for reasons other than reduction in force.
Motion would be in order.
So move.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes.
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
And my final action report is 16.3. This evening, we're recommending the Board of Education consider for approval and adoption of the resolution number 1458, authorizing the execution of employment separation agreement.
So moved.
Motion, second. Any discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Member Venegas?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Sikora?
Yes.
Member Felice?
Yes.
Secretary Hansen?
Yes?
Vice President Gugis?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes. Dr. Mitchum, computer device refresh fiscal year 13 and 14, if you would.
I will let
I knew you would.
Mr. Grizzaffi set this up for us.
Sure. I'm going to turn it over to our 2 expert directors from technology, Don Tofano and Astrid Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Grizzaffi. Good evening, Dr. Mitchum. Good evening, President Quigley, Vice President Gugis, Board of Education, Senior Administration, members of Valley View School District.
Thank you.
It is our pleasure this evening for Mr. Tavano and myself to present to you our annual computer device refresh. Let's see if I can Sorry.
We clearly need the refresh.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. Thank you, John.
It's a hard sell right there. That's called a hard sell.
Thank you.
Right there. Make it break down in front of us.
To give you a little background information, a couple of years ago, the technology department extended the life cycle of the computer devices that we support here in the district from 4 years for our laptops to 5 years for our laptops and to 7 years for our desktops. Traditionally, new computer systems have been cycled in every summer prior to the start of the school year. This year, due to the lengthening of the computer life cycles, we've got a large number of systems that need replacing, and we have traditionally a limited time frame to do that in. This presents us with some logistical challenges. Our proposed solution is to go through a phased system replacement throughout the coming school year. This will give us some additional benefits, and those will be able to incorporate results from our computer pilots that we're currently undertaking in the purchasing decision. We'll be able to have more information from the Partnership for Assessment of College and Career Readiness assessment, which is a process that we as a district, as all other districts in the state of Illinois, are going to need to assess all our students from grades 3 through 11. We will, in addition, be able to minimize the disruption to our end users by using a phased approach, and we'll also be able to have some cost avoidance by extending 330 targeted systems for an additional year.
As Ms. Welch pointed out, we're looking to do a multi-phased implementation of replacing the existing systems that were due up for cycle. We had over 2,400 devices, laptops and desktops, scheduled to be replaced in the coming year. As she pointed out, that traditionally would have been done over the summer months, but what we're looking to do is to phase that in. First phase, we've identified 700 systems to be replaced over the summer, and then followed by, beginning in the fall, replace about 900 devices beginning in the fall, and then ending up the fiscal year with a deployment of about 500 additional systems. Then in the summer of 2014, we would replace those 330 systems that we were going to extend their life by an additional year. In terms of the devices that were selected, we have identified the 700 replacement systems that were laptops associated with certified staff that we're finishing up 5 years in service within the district. Additionally, we are proposing 70 additional computers due to new certified staff in reading and special ed, plus some additional spare systems. We received quotes from 3 different vendors, Dell, Lenovo, and HP. The device that we've selected and will be recommending is a Dell system. Of the systems that were that we did take a look at, Dell came in number 1, not only best in terms of pricing, but also in terms of warranty. And it has been our experience from a service level, they provided also the greatest level of service with the vendors that we've been using. In summary, we are recommending a phased approach to the upcoming deployment for the next 14 to 16 months. With that, we'll be able to incorporate some pilot feedback of some newer technologies that we'll be evaluating as potential replacements in the future, as opposed to traditional laptops and desktops. Again, factoring in the park assessment requirements, which are going to be more solidified come fall. Minimizing that end user disruption, and again pushing off some costs until the next fiscal year. So we'd be coming to the next board meeting May 13th with that recommendation. And if you have any questions.
I do. Are we replacing staff laptops even though they're fine?
Yes, we are replacing staff laptops. The current systems are being utilized by our 700 staff members, and we're experiencing a higher level of replacement for batteries and other components.
And so what do we do with the ones that are workable?
Ones that are workable, we traditionally use those. We recycle them out and receive an amount from the vendor for recycling them. We are looking into using those systems if we need to for the park assessment, because we believe that we're going to need additional systems in order to do that. and these would provide us with those additional systems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the initial rollout is for 770 staff members to receive new laptops. For the benefit of the public, could you back up a couple slides?
Certainly.
Thank you, Mrs. Welch. Ms. Welch. Can you describe for the benefit of the public how staff use laptops?
Certainly. Staff, all certified staff members in Valley View have had a laptop since we began this program in the summer of 2008. And they use them for a variety of uses, from communication tools, using it for email, for data assessment, for reporting their grades, for presentations, connecting the devices to the instructional technology infrastructure that we have in place, a smart board, a document camera. They will use them to prepare documentation worksheets for their students. And they can also use them for their own professional development.
So these laptops they get a lot of use. This isn't just checking email.
Yes, they're used 24/7, and we have allowed staff members to take their laptops home for them for the summer for, I believe, the past 4 summers, and we've felt that the use has been, 24/7.
So I know we went with the lowest bidder, but you were confident in the usage. In the quality. I guess the quality is not what I'm looking for. The end users are going to be happy with this laptop, take into account whatever problems they might have had with their old ones.
That is correct. This computer is twice the speed of the old systems that they'll be replacing. It has twice the memory that the old systems have replaced, and they also have a far significant hard drive. So we believe that the end user experience is going to be able to meet the needs that those systems now have.
Thank you.
So are we replacing these paperweights?
Yes, we are replacing those paperweights.
Got it.
Those are the systems that will be replaced to a much more compact laptop, a 14-inch laptop, which we believe fits in more with what our end users are using currently right now. Not quite as nice as that one, President Quigley, but the price point is
a lot less.
A lot less, yes.
Duly note you brought that from home.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are we upgrading the systems in the schools also so that when 25 children get on at the same time, they can actually get on?
Thank you for asking that question, Board Member Sikora. Yes, indeed we are. In fact, we have been approved by the previous board to upgrade the wireless system throughout the school district, and that will be beginning in September of this year. And that's one of the last pieces of the overall network upgrade that we have done. You've probably seen the large towers that we have implemented at a number of schools. We've also 10 times the amount of bandwidth to the internet, and we now have 2 bandwidths out to the internet here at the Ad Center for the South Side buildings and at Bolingbrook High School for our North Side buildings. So the district, thank you.
Member Sikora, me and myself and Mrs. Welch, Ms. Welch, recently attended a technology forum with Dr. Mitchum in District 214, and that capacity issue was brought up as a barrier to bring your own devices and all kinds of things we're trying to move to in technology. So they were pleased to tell me that they are working those problems out with what we've recently done, because there's great opportunity for us both on a cost saving side and to use technology better to bring your own. But the problem you described is a problem, but I do know that they're addressing it.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
both. Thank you. Next, where are we at? Strategic plan.
Yes, here to present our strategic plan is Kelly Gilbert, as well as Dr. Sharon McNeely, who has been consulting with the district in relation to our strategic plan. Just briefly, we have been working on this plan for the better part of at least a year, even more so. Many of our community forums were dedicated to seeking community input on this plan. We've also surveyed our staff. We've surveyed all of our stakeholders, and we have audited our curriculum instruction side of the district and have been working very diligently on this plan. To our knowledge, our district really has yet to develop a true strategic plan, and this is in response to the previous board's expectation that we be able to identify our goals and be able to measure those goals and give you information, long-term information as to where we're at and where we expect to be, so that you can hold this administration accountable for the progress of this district. So I will turn it over to Shelley and Dr. McNeely for a brief overview of where we're at and where we're going.
Good evening, President Quigley, Dr. Mitchum, Board of Education, administration, senior leadership, and community members. Tonight, Dr. McNeely, our district consultant, and I are here to share with you a brief summary of the plan and its main points. Just wanted to, as Dr. Mitchum shared, explain that throughout this whole process, and with all the stakeholder input that was received, our mission, vision, and beliefs within our pillars were all maintained as very critical components in the development of this plan. The plan has 4 areas that were provided to you in your packet. I'm going to highlight each of these areas this evening for your review. The first area is student learning opportunities that connect to our community. The purpose of this area really highlights the work of our students in preparation for their ability to be able to be college and career ready, and all the standards that are associated with that readiness. Looking at our climate, our partnerships, and specifically how all of that connects with our community. That is the highlight of this section. The second section is teaching and learning. I believe this section pretty much speaks for itself with respect to teaching and learning, everything that happens inside and outside of the classroom, considering the adoption, implementation, monitoring, evaluation of our standards, looking more specifically at student engagement and the increased expectations. Our third component is staff development and support. Within this area, you have what we look specifically at, our commitment to our staff, looking at professional development, professional learning communities, making sure everything is appropriate and targeted as we move through the process of supporting our staff in the teaching and learning within the district. And the final 4th area looks specifically at policies, procedures, finances, and facilities, making sure that we maintain a safe and secure learning environment, and that we do that by managing our resources in accordance with that. Based on these 4 areas and more specific objectives which have been outlined for you and will be outlined in greater detail upon your approval that we're seeking at our May 13th board meeting, we have the following communication timeline in place. We're looking at communication with our administration, most specifically at upcoming administrator meetings, presentations with our district staff, both within buildings as well as for our ancillary staff at transportation, food service, print shop, etc., to occur that final week in May. Most specifically, we will also be looking at this communication with our students in the fall. And the most recent form of this communication outside of our board meeting venues will be included within our community forums that will occur on May 21st and 23rd. Of course, all documents will be translated into Spanish and available on the Valley View District website. That is the simple and brief overview of our strategic plan. And we thank you for your attention, and we look forward to any comments or questions you may have at this time.
I saw that we had communication with staff, with community. Have we found an effective way, maybe I missed it, to communicate and get input from students?
We did seek student input previously last spring actually, and we will be working with building leaders to highlight the components of the plan in the fall when students return to school.
I think that's it. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate your efforts. Next, Middle School Summer Odyssey Program.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Tonight we bring to you a brief informational report. It's for informational purposes to inform the Board of Education and the Valley View community about a middle school summer Odyssey program, a virtual summer experience. And I'm going to give you a brief background on this, and then I will turn it over to Mrs. Sarah DiDonato, principal at AVM, and Dr. Keith Wood, principal at Brooks Middle School. And they are going to share for you the work of the teacher team that created this proposal for this program. And we have Mrs. Lisa Allen, a teacher from Jane Addams Middle School, here as well. The term Odyssey has been somewhat familiar in our community. As you know, this is a learning tool that we adopted this school year to use to supplement the curriculum and instruction that's going on in the classroom. So students who need additional support in area of mathematics or reading receive 2, 3, or 5 days of enhancement class where they use this individualized learning tool. It basically takes the data from our MAP assessment, measures of academic progress, and it creates an individualized learning path that is based on that particular student's need. So students work with this interactive learning tool that's web-based, and they spend time focusing on areas that they need to. Students have access to this program 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from anywhere that they have an internet connection, including home, library, or any other public space, including schools. This tool has great opportunities to extend learning as well, so if students have already mastered skills, it's going to push them up to the next level. We are seeing very strong indications of student growth. Our students are showing a great deal of progress. And upon reviewing this progress, and we're continually checking where we're at with this program, the teachers came up with a proposal to extend this learning opportunity into the summer to make use of this tool that we have available for our students. So I'm going to turn it over now to Mrs. DiDonato so she can tell you a little bit more about the program.
Thank you. And before we begin, I did want to thank the 9 teachers who were on our committee to help design this proposal this evening. Lisa Allen, who is with us this evening, Mandy Carvelli, Lisa Cope, Kathleen Gallione, Rebecca Gunderson, Sarah Klon, Catherine Coy, Angelina McDonald, and Pam Stevens. So all 5 middle schools were represented and came together to create this proposal for the program. So looking at the purpose is to provide a virtual learning experience for students entering 6th to 8th grade to reduce the summer slide and provide a jump start for the next grade level. So there's twofold. The reduction of the summer slide, because what data trends have been showing us is that students at the end of spring, their data drops a bit from when we then test them the following fall. So we're trying to prevent that or lessen the slide that occurs. And then additionally provide the jump start for the next grade level. So our current 5th graders, upon going into 6th grade, we have jump start folders that will be created by the enhancement teachers with the help of our director for math and science and for literacy that will help them be more prepared for that first area of the curriculum that they are being introduced for that grade level. Our goal is to maintain or extend the growth students have made during the 2012-2013 school year and prepare for the upcoming school year. So our goal is directly related to our purpose. And we will be using the spring MAP scores from spring 2013 and fall 2013 to assess that progress. We're also going to be looking at the course pre-assessment data in fall of 2013 for students who participated in the program compared to their peers who did not. Last year we did do a pre-assessment with our math curriculum for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We will be using that in conjunction with a literacy pre-assessment. The data that you see up on the slide in front of you are the reading and math scores. When you look at our students from last year, our 5th graders, when they were moving into 6th grade, the average growth over the summer dropped 0.441 points, and the percentage of students that those scores fell were 48%. And you'll see in the graphic that only 1 grade level, 7th grade moving into 8th grade, had a little bit of growth, but again, that was a very, very minimal amount of growth. So again, our goal is to prevent that summer slide or decrease that summer slide of data.
In terms of the rationale for the program, in keeping with the district's mission to support college and career readiness for all students, and fitting in quite nicely with the district's strategic plan, we want to make sure that we provide opportunities for middle-level learners to engage in academic instruction over the summer months. And we know research states and educators will echo the fact that kids who stay academically engaged over the summer benefit. We also know that we want to make sure that we support all levels of learners, and by providing an opportunity for middle level students to engage in a summer learning program where a program doesn't currently exist will fit quite nicely what we're offering for elementary and opportunities that are available at the high school level. We also know that students quite naturally navigate to technology, and since it's a virtual learning experience, students will be more apt to utilize it to facilitate their learning. And our current students who are enhancement, who take advantage of this program, already have familiarity with the program. It's another benefit. We currently have the Odyssey program in place. The license has been purchased. We want to make full use of what is available 12 months out of the year. And the activities that are embedded for both reading and mathematics are developmentally appropriate for our students. And the middle level students will benefit from a self-guided program. Tell you a little bit about program details. We're looking at offering a 6-week program beginning June 17th and ending on August 9th. There will be a staff to student ratio, August 2nd, my apologies. There'll be a staff to student ratio of 1 staff member to 30 students. Our enrollment target for the program is 350 students, with staffing being 12 teachers and 1 coordinator to help troubleshoot any issues and get us jump-started. Staffing will be adjusted based upon need if we do not hit our enrollment target. We will also have an open lab where students will receive FaceTime, which we'll learn a little bit more about from Mrs. DiDonato. And the labs will be open in each middle school in the district and optional. We're looking at a registration fee of $15. As far as participation in the program, and this is still being worked out with directors for literacy and mathematics, students will engage in activities and or work towards minutes completion at home primarily, but we also want to work in partnership with our local libraries so that they could help provide an opportunity or resource for students who may not have technology at home to go into the labs in the libraries. And there's also the opportunity, as was already stated, to work in the open labs to receive support from teacher coach. At this time, Ms. DiDonato will talk a little bit more about students that will be involved in the program.
The program is going to be open for all students entering grades 6th through 8th for the school year 2013-2014. As we've noticed, when Summer Learning Experience opened last year, each building fielded many phone calls from incoming 6th graders as well as current 6th, 7th graders as well, asking for summer opportunities. So this will definitely provide an opportunity for those families. And students currently enrolled in enhancement classes will be highly encouraged to register. Those are our Tier 2 and 3 students. All 6th through 8th grade students have the option of using the program through Compass Learning at any point during the summer without enrolling in the program. Currently, all of our students, 100% of our middle schoolers, can access the program whether they are enrolled in enhancement or not. So again, those students will be able to participate without paying the registration fee or participating in the program. However, if you do register for the program, we do have the benefit of having a kickoff, so our incoming 6th graders who have never experienced the program before will be able to get a walkthrough of what to expect. There will be weekly monitoring feedback by a teacher coach, which I'll explain in a later slide. There will be learning labs 1 day a week from 9:30 to 11:30 at each district middle school. That was a very important part that our teachers made sure that we had, because that face-to-face time is very important. While yes, it's a virtual program, there still needs to be opportunities for the students to have that time in case they are struggling more so than we would anticipate with a self-guided program. And then there's a culminating celebration for goal achievement. The incentive program, we definitely know that students love incentives, and so we will provide them with that incentive. As I mentioned, the teacher coaches. They will monitor the progress of students at least once weekly, tracking the number of assignments and time spent on the program. Each building will be selecting their own teacher coaches once the posting goes out, and we are looking for people who are comfortable with the enhancement program who are already doing this on a regular basis with their students in classes. We plan on emailing students at least once per week and providing feedback on that progress or support as continued progress. The teacher coaches will be facilitating the working sessions and providing that face-to-face support if they come to the open labs. So again, those will be at each middle school, a consistent day each week, once a week throughout the entire summer. And they will be sending mass emails each week to determine which students are coming to the open lab and invite specific students who need help. So what the data shows them, they will be reaching out to those students primarily. And then we will also be having the coaches contact parents or guardians. Again, this is a very virtual program, so we're hoping to have that virtual connection, but also by phone if necessary, if students are not participating or making progress in the program. And then lastly, at the end of the program, we expect them to compile a summary data sheet for progress so that we can review that. And once our fall map data is in, we will review it further.
So how much will this cost? It's always the question, and currently as it stands, when you look at staffing and teachers who have contact time with students and the teacher coordinator, that amount comes to $12,990. We're expecting to receive $5,250 through registration fees, which leaves us with a budget of approximately $7,740, which will be made up from existing or matched by existing local funds, which are currently in our middle school restructuring budgets that are already included in the current fiscal year's budget. So it wouldn't be middle school without a theme. Our theme is Summer Odyssey, where we hope that our students will embark on this odyssey and go full throttle towards reaching the checkered flag. So it'll be part of the motivational theme that is currently under development by the teacher team. They're very excited about it, and we're going to move that forward. Additional information about registration will be shared in multiple venues, parent letter, website, email, marquees, and anything else that we could think of to drum up support for the program and get students registered. It brings us to the close. Are there any questions?
May I make a comment prior to any questions? There was a time in this district, and I know firsthand because I ran our summer school program, in which the credibility of our summer school program was so low that our teachers actually boycotted participation in that program. I can remember distinctly trying to recruit teachers from the high schools and the middle schools to teach our summer school programs, and they refused. And the reason they refused is because the curriculum for those, there was no indication that the curriculum that was being delivered during our summer programs had any impact on student achievement once they had completed the coursework. We were spending tens of thousands of dollars on our summer school programs without any measurable success as indicated by the students based on the assessments they took at the end of the program. And so I commend our staff for trying to find ways in which we can truly assess where our kids are at and assess where they will be at the conclusion of the program and monitor the success of the program, make the adjustments if necessary in real time at a cost that is far more efficient than what we have done in the past. So I thank you and I thank your team and your committee for the work you've done concerning this.
I think that we've seen that repeated with our summer learning experience. I know there was a time at elementary schools we were spending $400,000 on a program for our elementary schools that was not effective. And we've seen that. So that's a plug for summer learning experience. Great program. I think we have till May 10th.
Well, yes, thank you, Vice President Gugis. The latecomer registration has been extended to this Friday, so parents come out, come one, and we will still be accepting registration if there's a extenuating circumstance. So thank you for giving that SLE plug tonight.
And speak kind of on that note. I took from the slides that the stated goal was to reduce the summer slide, but because you're going to highly encourage particular cohorts of kids to come, I also imagine that you're trying to remedy some deficiencies along with just not preventing summer slide?
Want to prevent summer slide, remediate any deficiencies that exist that are specific to that individual student, as well as provide a jump start to the next year's curriculum. So it's multifaceted.
The second question is, how are you going to highly encourage? You said to highly encourage students that were beneath the 50th percentile.
Sure. Special invitations, teacher, enhancement teachers who currently work with students can reach out, administrators can reach out. I think the major part of it is just providing the information and making sure that connection is made, and not just sending home a flyer, but making that contact.
And that would be my own 2 cents, is that I don't think there could be a more powerful tool than a teacher reaching out to a parent or a caregiver and saying, I think this would be a valuable program for your child.
Are you having this at every middle school?
That is correct.
Okay, so even if it's a little bit low, somewhere you're not, are you going to move one middle school to the other, or are you going to try and make sure that it's accessible all across the district?
We want to make sure it's accessible across the district to make it convenient for families, and there's that connection with students to their home school. But we will also schedule it out and balance it based upon the need, and we'll have to look at the numbers. But we will have open lab hours at each middle school.
Regardless of how it's laid out.
Correct.
And all students will be able to go to any different lab that they would like. So for example, if Martinez has open labs on Monday and Brooks has open labs on Tuesday, Jane Addams on Wednesday, et cetera, a student technically could go to an open lab every day that they're offered, and we're hoping to have a minimum of 3 days, 2 to 3 days a week being utilized through the school week, or the summer week, if you want to call it that, so they can take advantage of that.
Good, excellent.
Thank you. Sounds like a well thought out process. I like the flags.
Okay.
We can't afford to rent on the side of a NASCAR, Joliet, though.
Sure. That's due to the teacher team, and I'd just like to echo what was stated already. The teachers doing a phenomenal job implementing the program currently, and also developing this because it's fresh, it's new, it's innovative. We did contact surrounding districts, and no one's offering a virtual learning experience to the middle level learners, and we're just excited about the potential and possibility, and it is merited out by the assessment data that we have seen from fall to winter, and we're hoping to see greater gains when we compare our fall to spring map data.
And we will be bringing you a summary of the progress and an assessment of our progress in the enhancement program using this as a tool. Our winter data was very promising. We're seeing some significant gains for our students, and so we'd just like to continue those gains and increase those even further. Thank you again for presenting this evening, and thank you, Lisa, for being here, and to the entire teacher committee and the enhancement teachers. Thank you.
One last point I'd like to make about this too, and commend the teachers for, is that as we know, the virtual charter school phenomenon is at our doorstep, and one of the ways in which districts can combat these virtual schools is by having their own virtual type solution, so that we can be in competition with those schools, so that in the event anyone comes knocking on our doorstep seeking to siphon off funds, valuable funds that we need to educate our kids, we can have our own solution to keep our money in-house and be able to have a virtual solution for our kids as well. So this is just a very scratching the surface in terms of what the possibilities can be for the long term in terms of being able to find alternative ways in which to educate our children, because it's coming.
Thank you again.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it. Moving down the agenda, Legal Services Report. Mr. Alpern.
No report this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Association Federation Reports, AFT. No report. Thank you. Valley View Council. No report. Valley View Office Personnel Council. Apparently no report. Any old business before the board this evening? Any new business before the board this evening? Any questions from the public on action we have taken this evening? Hearing none, seeing none. Any announcements by the board members?
We've got a couple. I got to attend the RHS Children's Play, and this is the first year I've been able to attend. And for those of you who don't know a lot about it, and which I did not know a lot about it, it is the 20th year that they've done this. Obviously, we do a fall and winter play and musical, but the RHS Children's Play is directed by a student at RHS. And this is in addition to their spring musical. They had 850 elementary students from throughout the district there today. They put it on for the community as a whole on yesterday, on Sunday. And a 17-year-old senior by the name of Gabrielle Habib wrote this play, directed this play, and she did a great job. And it's 20 years by our students, really impressive. So just wanted to mention her. Great job, Gabrielle. I believe she goes by Gabby. I also wanted to recognize Mrs. Kelly Gilbert. She received her superintendent certification, and she will get her doctorate shortly. I think Dr. Mitchum, I think that woman sitting next to her looks familiar to you. I believe you know her, so I guess look out. I don't really know what's going on there with Ms. Gilbert, if she's coming for you. I also would like to congratulate our new board members, Mr. Felice and Mrs. Sikora. I've gotten to know you guys a little bit in the last couple months. Looking forward to you on the board. I wanted to address Mr. Sinatra Strong's comments about No Child Left Behind. While we find No Child Left Behind is problematic, the idea of all of our students achieving is a noble goal of No Child Left Behind. How it's measured, how those things happen are less than ideal. But it is still our shared vision that all our children will achieve. To that note, I think it would be remiss if we did not mention that Pioneer, with 5 subgroups this past year, did meet the standards of No Child Left Behind. And last but not least, he's left. I do want to thank member Ronnie Bull for his service. He is a true gentleman and a class act, and while he was not always as vocal while sitting here on the board, he did tons of work behind the scenes, particularly in the areas of Wilco and working for our students. So, Ronnie, you will be missed.
I just had one announcement. I was at the top 10% for Bolingbrook, and a lot of our students did awesome as far as all the accomplishments for this year. I know we have Romeoville's top 10 is coming in about a week and a half. So it was just a really thrilling experience to hear where the kids are going, what they're doing, and how well our district is educating our students. It's really exciting.
I have one announcement. I would like to invite the community out to our community public forums that will be held Tuesday, May 21st at Lukanzik Middle School in Romeoville, Illinois. Begins at 6:30 p.m. On Thursday, May 23rd, we'll be at Bolingbrook High School, and that event will begin at 6:30 p.m. This is a tremendous opportunity to come out and hear progress that we've achieved so far in the district, hear plans for the upcoming school year, and provide us your feedback and input. And so we highly encourage you to come out on the evening of May 21st or May 23rd. Thank you.
I have one announcement for Kelly Gilbert. I too congratulate you on receiving your superintendent's endorsement. In terms of gunning for me, just be careful what you wish for.
Are there any other comments? I want to welcome the 2 new board members. The 2 gentlemen who you're replacing were very well thought of, and as I said, put a lot of time in. And I know you guys are not strangers to hard work, and you're certainly not strangers to the district. You have a lot of resources at that end, and you got some resources down at that end, and you got a lot of resources out there, and I know you already know a lot of those people. Do not hesitate to pick up the phone and call them and ask them questions. That's what they're there for, and I'm sure that they will be able to provide you guys with the answers that you're looking for. And if not, there's always somebody else who can. So welcome, and look forward to working with everybody on this new board. And to echo what Rick said about Ron and Jim, Ronnie Bull is a true gentleman. The world needs more people like him. I meet a lot of people in my life, and I was once overheard a statement by a guy who was in Congress, and his name was Harris Faywell. Congressman Faywell represented the greater part of this area, and it was said about Harris Faywell that in the barnyard of politics, Harris Faywell is a flamingo. Well, in the barnyard of politics and school boards, Ronnie Bull, in my opinion, is since he's from Texas, I'll just say he's a stallion horse, and he's just a true gentleman, and he will be around. And this is a guy who shows up at 8-year-old football games to to talk to kids on random Saturday mornings when asked by coaches who he doesn't even know. And it might be 30 degrees and raining, and Ronnie comes out and gives them a little rah-rah speech and tells them how to hold the football when they're running with it. And he's just a true gentleman, and I'll miss him here, but he's my friend, and I'll see him out in public, and you guys will see him out there too, as I'm sure you'll see Member Kern out doing his thing with the Boy Scouts and so on and so forth. So, again, they'll be missed. Welcome. And if there's no further comments, I would ask that motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned.